Hey Scrappers, it's Tom from the iScrap app, and wherever you're watching us this week, we welcome you to our weekly report, where you can learn about scrap metal prices, news, ask us questions about materials, or ask our advice on the markets. If you're looking to ask those questions, ask us whether it's live or after, and we'll always get you those answers. Come on in, let's go talk scrap.
Hey Scrappers, Tom from iScrap, and today is Wednesday, June 8th. Here we are, a full week into June already. Can't believe it's happening. And what an exciting week it's been here at iScrap. We have lots of things to talk about, but first and foremost, thank you for joining us in this conversation, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or any of the social platforms. If you have questions about scrap, please let us know. Those questions are what helps us make these videos. These questions are what help us make more videos to help you make more money by explaining things in a way that many other people and most likely most scrap yards wouldn't do. So please let us do that so we can share things with you and just make you a more educated scrapper. Talking about education, we started to go outside of our normal reach, and this week we are going to have a new spotlight starting. Every single Wednesday we have an energy economist named Mark that's going to be joining us by posting blurbs in every week's report. So by clicking on these reports and reading them, you're going to start to see what an energy economist is thinking, looking at, and reacting to when it comes to gas, diesel, and oil prices. We think that this is so important because every single week we talk about these markets, and now we want to give you a different perspective on how they integrate into the scrap prices and what you can expect. So in the coming weeks, you'll start to see these reports enhanced with some comments from Mark. And on top of that, we're going to be recording a series of podcasts with him. So please be on the lookout for those so you can learn more about the energy markets and how they affect the metals commodity market. So that's really exciting. Now, copper prices in the last week, relatively unchanged, down maybe 3 or 4 cents after the big 20-cent jump that we saw. What was nice about the 20-cent increase that we saw last week, it's been relatively sustained. We saw a few cents coming off of it. Large part of that jump was due to the Chinese getting out of their 2-month-long COVID lockdown. By having that COVID lockdown happening, we saw the markets being a little bit depressed. By having the Chinese come back into the market about 2 weeks ago, after a week of getting their feet underneath them, we did start to see trading picking up as manufacturing was also picking up at the same time. Now, when we're talking about pricing, you always want to know that going to our website, iscrapapp.com, we have pricing page there. Those prices are the averages of prices that have been reported by you, the scrapper, not by me, the scrapyard owner, but by people throughout the United States and Canada that are getting these prices at the scrapyard. So by going to iscrapapp.com or just going onto your phone and checking out some of our prices through the iScrap app itself, you'll be able to know where the markets are. Don't forget, green means up since the day before, red means down since the day before. So unfortunately, the steel prices have continued to be on the downward trend with another $10 to $20 a ton coming off the markets. Now, what I've looked at in the last few months, we've seen steel prices decline about 60% from where they topped out at. So that's a really big drop off. With a drop off like that, not 60%, 40% of a drop off. With a drop off like that, there has to be a reason. So let's talk about some of the reasons, and some more of the reasons will be talked about in our podcasts with Mark. One of the big reasons is energy prices. Of course, everyone knows this isn't a surprise that gas and diesel prices have continued to hit all-time record highs. Now, a year ago, with copper hitting all-time record highs, we were all excited. Today, just the same story, and you just switch out copper for gas, and all of a sudden, everyone gets upset. It's so funny how one word can change an entire sentence. Now, with the gas prices being as high as they are, why that led to the steel prices being decreased isn't always correlated. One of the biggest reasons that steel prices have gone down is not only because of the oil and the gas prices, which of course makes it more expensive to mine, transport, recycle all of these different grades of steel. But what we've seen is a massive amount of demolition and construction projects going on throughout the country. At any given time, I can click into my LinkedIn profile, check out some scrapyard owners and large demo contractors that I follow throughout the country, and see that not only are they busy, they're busy with large projects that are producing thousands of tons of steel. So what does that mean for the steel market? Well, I was listening to a gentleman that owns a scrapyard in Seattle, and they were just saying that there's so much steel out there that the mills are not able to accommodate so much of the steel coming in. So that has heavily affected the grading and the pricing on scrap. On top of that, whether you like it or not, COVID still is a thing in many parts of the world, and many economies like Turkey and India have been slowed down because of COVID, as well as because of the crazy supply chain issues that we're continuing to see. I read an article earlier from my freight broker, and he was just talking about the demand for trucks, which is really interesting to me. So to share that with you, the demand for trucks is through the roof. And with such a supply chain happening, carried over since the new administration took over in 2021, we've seen the transportation secretary continuing to talk about the supply chain issues that we saw. We saw that last year when everyone was scared about Christmas presents not coming in time. Well, here we are in June already reading the same stuff 2 months earlier than we heard about it last year, and that is a major issue. That means that the supply chains continue to have bottlenecks, whether it's getting unloaded at the port or loaded at the port. Either way, there are slowdowns. Now, the trucking companies throughout the country are continuing to be busy, but one of the major tie-ups is getting a lot of those container ships off of the trucks. Now, once you get them off, your demand for trucks has increased so much that it costs more money to have a truck show up to pick up that load that's coming off of that ship. So these are things that are continuing to rear their ugly heads. And for many people throughout the central parts of America, rural America, that may not be on a coastal city or in a coastal state, you may not be seeing it. But as someone who lives in New Jersey and watches a lot of these ships going in and out of Port Newark, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, and other areas, I see these tie-ups both firsthand. I've seen them both while flying over and by driving by and stopping at these different places. There are problems, and there are not solutions to these problems, and that's going to lead to a very turbulent scrap economy. Now, if you were a Patreon supporter, you would have known some of these things already. So if you're looking to learn more about the markets, more about copper prices, more tips by becoming a Patreon supporter, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can click the link below. This way you can learn more about it, become a Patreon supporter. You'll learn more about the markets in a much quicker fashion, and a smart consumer, an educated consumer continues to be that. So here we are. Markets, nickel prices, which affect stainless steel, have been up, but the demand for the stainless steel, there still seems to be an oversupply in the markets. What does that mean? Prices have been decreased. We saw stainless prices drop 30 cents a pound in the last few weeks because not only the nickel market dropped so heavily, but also the lack of demand, because there's just such an oversupply right now, has also quelled itself down a little bit. Copper prices continuing to stay strong, but we have seen a very weak aluminum market kind of staying in line with the stainless markets, where higher grades of aluminum are still there, but some of the lower grades like aluminum sheet or mixed cast aluminum has really taken a hit, and we've seen 15 cents a pound to 20 cents a pound coming off of those prices in the last few weeks. So in the next few weeks, scrappers, what are you going to hear from the team here at the iScrap Map? We are going to continue to talk about where the commodities prices are by utilizing and working with Mark, our energy economist. He's going to be able to give us more insights into the market week after week. Hopefully you can check out some of our podcasts where we will be talking about those energy prices and how they affect scrap and how they will affect the money that you're making at the scrapyard. Any questions, ideas, comments, videos that you want us to make talking about scrap, please let the team here at iScrap know. Continue to use the app. Post your prices every single time that you cash in at the scrapyard. This gives you the ability to learn more about the markets, helps contribute to other scrappers, and just helps the overall markets learn more about themselves. Scrappers, this is Tom. Any other questions? Let us know. Until next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for checking out our scrap videos. By becoming a Patreon supporter today, you'll be entered into monthly giveaways for tools and other products to help you make more money with your scrap.